The third year after being marked for life, Bryant started saying I was a low-grade Omega. Not as exciting as the others. I nodded calmly and handed him the divorce papers. You're right. Let's get divorced. Bryant looked at me and let out a short laugh. Then he signed his name without hesitation. Just to be clear, he said, if we really get divorced this time, I won't come begging you back. He tilted his head, smiling lazily. An Omega like you, without pheromones, after divorce, who would ever want you? I didn't argue. I just picked up my already packed suitcase and moved out. A few nights after the divorce, Bryant called me drunk. Sawyer, why aren't you home? Still mad at me? Suddenly, the phone was snatched from my hand by the man behind me. He looked down at me, weak and breathless. He raised an eyebrow and said with a faint smile. Him? He's busy. Oh wait, he's asleep now. You really want to divorce me this time? Bryant leaned against the cabinet, sounding lazy. I didn't answer. I just walked over and handed him the divorce papers. Bryant glanced down at them, then slowly lifted his eyes to look at me. What's the reason this time? Because I didn't come home last night? Because you're mad? His shirt was wrinkled, the top 2 buttons undone. He didn't even realize how heavy the scent of another Omega's pheromones clung to him. Or that obvious kiss mark on his neck. All of it told me one thing. Last night, he slept with someone else again. As long as I didn't expose him, Bryant would never admit it. Like now. He could still look me in the eyes and say he was working overtime last night. Even though we both knew the truth. I met his gaze calmly. Next time you sleep with someone else, I said, try to clean off their pheromones. It's disgusting. Bryant chuckled softly. Sure. I'll keep that in mind next time. There won't be a next time. Bryant didn't take the divorce seriously. Even with the papers right in front of him. He still thought I was just angry. Waiting for him to comfort me. Not that I actually wanted to leave. I pushed the papers closer to him. Sign them. He looked at me for a long moment. Then gave a small laugh. He picked up the pen. Signed his name. When he finished, he tossed the pen into the trash can. Just saying, he added lightly. If we really get divorced, I won't come running after you. His eyes held a trace of indifference. You should think carefully. An Omega like you, no pheromones, can't have kids, and already marked for life by me, who else would want you? Bryant wasn't wrong. As a defective Omega who had been marked for life, no one would want me. But I didn't care. I folded the signed papers neatly. Turned to go upstairs. Grabbed my packed suitcase. And came back down. When I passed him, I stopped. There are a few more formalities after signing. I'll let you know when it's time. Bryant turned his head slightly. His eyes landing on me. He spoke slowly, almost amused. This time you're really keeping it up, huh? Fine. I'll wait for your call. I didn't respond. Just left without looking back. The next day after moving out, I booked an appointment to have the mark removed. 10 days later. A permanent mark isn't like a temporary one. One needs surgery. The other just fades with time. My phone buzzed suddenly. Bryant had sent a photo. Books and clothes I'd left behind. His message was clear. He thought I was just playing hard to get. I typed back. Throw them all away. He didn't reply. I didn't care either. This time, I really meant the divorce. That night, Bryant called again. I'll come pick you up, he said. His tone still arrogant. As if nothing had changed. Before, I might have taken it as a peace offering. A way to make up. I flipped a page in my project file and said flatly. I'm busy. Bryant laughed on the other end. Then I heard him talking loudly to his buddies. She's really mad this time. Didn't even let me pick her up. Guess the divorce is real. Someone snorted and cursed. Serves you right. Stop messing around with other Omegas. I listened silently, expressionless. As they laughed and made bets. Bets on how long it would take before I went back to him. 5 days, Bryant said, laughing. 10 days. A week. I hung up without a word. The room went quiet again. I thought to myself. Once I get that divorce certificate, he can do whatever he wants. It won't have anything to do with me anymore. Bryant lost the bet. He called me lazily. Still mad at me? It's been almost a week. When are you coming home? I said calmly. Bryant, we're divorced. Bryant laughed softly. Yeah, fine, you say we're divorced. So when will you stop being mad? It was clear he hadn't taken the divorce papers seriously. He really thought I was just throwing a tantrum. Since talking to him made no sense, there was no need to continue. I hung up and let out a long breath. I felt exhausted, completely drained. I couldn't understand. It had only been 3 years. How did Bryant change so much? At a college mixer during junior year, Bryant and I added each other on social media. He was straightforward. Never hid his interest in me. A month later, he confessed. I turned him down. But afterward, he acted like nothing had happened. Still came to find me every day. Still talked to me like always. The turning point came during a friend's get-together. We ran into each other at the entrance. Neither of us mentioned his confession. But as we reached the private room, I heard people inside laughing about me. Bryant really likes Sawyer. I heard he doesn't even have pheromones. If he's with an alpha, what happens during the alpha's heat? He only looks good. I heard he's a defective Omega, no pheromones, probably can't even get pregnant. TSK, can someone like that even be called an Omega? Before I could react, Bryant kicked the door open and started fighting the 2 guys who were mocking me. 2 against 1. But he didn't back down. When I pulled him away, his eyes were still burning with anger. He glared coldly at them and said, "If I ever hear you talk about him again, I'll beat you up every time." Afterward, I asked him, "Why did you do that?" Bryant's face was bruised, but his tone was serious. "Because I like you. I don't want anyone talking bad about you. Pheromones don't define who you are. If we could choose, no one would want to be born that way." I still remember the look on his face when he said that. Later, I accepted his confession. He truly treated me well. For a while. But in the end, he still cheated. Said I wasn't as exciting as other Omegas. It was a ridiculous, ugly reason, but painfully real. The day of my surgery, something unexpected happened. I ran into Bryant. And the Omega beside him. Bryant had unstable pheromones. He had to come for a checkup every 3 months. I used to go with him. When he saw me, he raised an eyebrow. Wearing that self-satisfied look of his. "Came looking for me?" he asked. I was still wearing a hospital gown. Holding my test results in hand. But Bryant didn't seem to notice. "Bryant, you really think too highly of yourself," I said coldly. Glancing at him and the Omega behind him. "Do you really think you deserve that?" I turned to leave. Bryant's eyes suddenly lit up. And he grabbed my wrist. "You're sick?" he asked, noticing the hospital gown. Expressionless, I pulled my hand away. "What does that have to do with you?" Bryant stared at me quietly for a moment. Then gave a short laugh. "So this is an act, for my benefit, huh?" I looked at him blankly and said nothing. Then I turned and walked away. The Omega next to him asked softly, "Bryant, who's that?" I'd seen that Omega on his social media the night before. He'd posted it just to get my attention. To make me come find him. ask who that person was. But Bryant only said casually, "Just a friend." He was right. We weren't close anymore. Back in my hospital room, the doctor came in to explain the pre-surgery instructions. Because my gland development was incomplete, technically I was considered a defective omega. That made the marking removal surgery more dangerous. And more painful. I knew that already. I'd researched everything long ago. Still, I signed the consent form. The doctor hadn't exaggerated. The surgery was brutal. Especially for an omega. Lying on the operating table, I felt an unexpected calm. Once the mark was gone, I wouldn't belong to Bryant anymore. From now on, we'd have nothing to do with each other. A week later, I was finally discharged. Standing by the roadside, I tried to call a cab. My face was pale. And the back of my neck was still swollen. Anyone could tell what had happened. But no drivers accepted my ride request. Just as I was about to lose balance, a black Maybach stopped in front of me. The rear window rolled down slowly. Dawson's face appeared. He looked straight at me. Bryant's uncle. Only 5 years older than him. Still single. To the family's endless worry. For a while, everyone thought he just wasn't into omegas. Even his blind dates with alphas failed. "Why are you at the hospital alone?" he asked. "Where's Bryant?" My vision blurred for a second. I had to shake my head to stay upright. He didn't wait for my answer. "Get in," he said. I wasn't close enough to Dawson for that. And he was Bryant's uncle, after all. So I shook my head. "No need. I'll just take a cab." His expression didn't change. But I could tell he was a little displeased. We stared at each other in silence. My neck throbbed in pain. So in the end, I gave in. "Thanks for the ride," I murmured, getting in. After a moment of silence, Dawson suddenly asked, "What happened to your neck?" I didn't expect him to notice right away. Sooner or later, he was going to find out about the divorce. So I said quietly, "I had the marking removed." The car went completely silent. After a long pause, he frowned slightly. "Marking removal?" There was something complicated in his eyes. "Yeah," I said. "Bryant and I are getting divorced." As soon as I said it, my fingers clenched tightly against my pants. He was Bryant's uncle. I thought he'd try to talk me out of it. But Dawson stayed quiet for a long time. When I turned my head in confusion, our eyes met. "Does it hurt?" he asked. I froze. "What?" he repeated patiently. "The surgery, does it hurt?" My hand loosened from my pants. I hadn't expected that question. He didn't ask why I was divorcing Bryant. He just asked if it hurt. My lips trembled slightly. I turned my head away. "It doesn't," I forced out. But it did. It hurt like hell. Even now, it still did. Even without looking. I could feel Dawson's gaze burning into me. "Sawyer," he said quietly. "You're a terrible liar." And I couldn't say a single word back. "Where are you going?" Dawson asked suddenly. The question caught me off guard. Before I could think, I gave him an address out of habit. The car had already driven partway toward Bryant's house. When the driver heard my words, he changed direction immediately. When we arrived, I reached for the door handle to get out. But Dawson suddenly grabbed my arm. Just for a second, then he let go. In a calm tone, he asked, "When will you get the divorce certificate?" "Just registered a few days ago," I said softly. "There's still a 30-day cooling-off period." I didn't understand why he wanted to know. But I answered honestly. Dawson nodded slowly. "I see," he said. "All right." I was about to unlock the door when he called my name. I turned around and met his gaze head-on. He looked completely calm, as if he were talking about something ordinary. "When you're divorced," he said, "will you marry me?" I froze. For a moment, I thought I misheard. "What did you just say?" I asked. Dawson paused briefly. "Or at least," he said, "give me a chance to pursue you." This time I heard him clearly. It wasn't a dream. Dawson was serious. "Uncle, are you joking?" "No," he said quietly. "I mean it." Sensing how stiff and panicked I'd become, he didn't press further. He simply unlocked the door for me. I didn't hesitate. I got out almost like I was escaping. After a shower, I lay on my bed, Dawson's words replaying over and over in my head. I hadn't seen him many times before. We'd only ever exchanged polite nods and small talk. Nothing more. My phone buzzed, snapping me out of my thoughts. It was Bryant. "Going on a business trip. You can come home if you want. Don't stay mad. Got you a gift." For the moment, I pushed Dawson's words aside. Bryant still thought things were the same as before. That I was just throwing a tantrum. He thought that if he coaxed me a little, bought me a few gifts, I'd eventually come back to him. After all, as he liked to say, no one would want an Omega who'd been permanently marked by him. After resting at home for 2 days, I returned to work. At a dinner event, I happened to run into Bryant. Supposedly on his business trip. He didn't even look guilty when he saw me. Just gave a helpless smile. "How'd you know I was here?" He raised an eyebrow, smiling lazily. "Did you see the gift I sent you?" "You're overthinking it," I said flatly. "You're not the only one here." A client called out to me from nearby. I turned to respond, then glanced back at Bryant. His expression had soured. Bryant had always hated my job. My monthly salary was worth less than one of his bottles of wine. And the work was exhausting. He'd long since dismissed my career as meaningless, treating me like a canary in a gilded cage. Something meant to rely on him. I turned to leave, but he grabbed my arm tightly. His eyes flicked from my neck to my face, and his voice shook. "Your gland, what happened to it?" In this circle, Bryant had definitely seen Omegas who'd had their marks removed. He just couldn't believe I'd done it myself. I pulled my arm free and met his gaze calmly. "Just had the mark cleaned," I said lightly, as if it were nothing. The people around us gasped quietly. No one expected me to go that far. Bryant's face darkened. Removing the mark meant his pheromones were gone from me. It meant I no longer belonged to him. That I didn't want him anymore. He clenched his teeth, staring at me in disbelief. He couldn't accept that I'd really gone through with it. In his mind, I loved him too much to ever do something like that. The night he gave me the permanent mark, I'd warned him that for someone like me, with underdeveloped glands, a lifelong mark would be far more painful than for a normal Omega. And if I ever wanted to remove it, that pain would be even worse. But he had only kissed away my tears and whispered, "I'll never give you the chance to remove it." Now Bryant's eyes were red with anger. "Sawyer," he said through gritted teeth, "do you have to take things this far?" It seemed I'd never make him understand. He didn't see his own mistakes. He only blamed me. "I'm not arguing," I said quietly. "Just don't forget to pick up the divorce papers." After sending off the client, I stepped outside and suddenly started to vomit. When I was done, a bottle of water appeared in front of me. I followed the hand holding it upward and saw Dawson's face. For a second, I was speechless. He said simply, "Rinse your mouth." Since that night when he'd said those unexpected words, I hadn't seen him again. I'd even wondered if he'd just been joking. But his expression was calm, unchanged. "It'll make you feel better," he said. After a moment, I took the bottle. "Thanks." I twisted it open and took a long drink. He was right. I did feel better. After a short silence, Dawson said, "I'll take you home." I shook my head. "No need. I'll get a cab." "You need a ride," he said simply. In the end, I got in his car. Because I'd seen Bryant standing at the entrance. He was staring straight at me. His eyes sharp, almost possessive. The ride was silent. Neither of us spoke a word. It was so quiet. We could have been two mutes. Then a video notification popped up on my phone. From one of Bryant's friends. When I opened it, Bryant filled the screen. Dim club lighting flashed across his face. He lounged lazily on the sofa, raising an eyebrow toward the camera. He was doing it on purpose. An Omega, barely dressed, was straddling his lap, resting against his chest, using his teeth to unbutton Bryant's shirt, one button at a time. By the fourth button, Bryant smirked faintly, lifted the Omega's chin, and teased, planning to undo them all. The Omega's face flushed, their actions bold and deliberate. They leaned forward, their tongue brushing against Bryant's fingers. When the video ended, I felt nothing at all. I typed 2 words in reply. Got it. 12. After we added each other on WeChat, Dawson checked twice to make sure, then finally turned off his phone. I let out a quiet breath, ready to get out of the car. But then he asked, "How's your gland? Does it still hurt?" I froze for a second before shaking my head. "It doesn't hurt anymore." After that, the air between us turned quiet again. Until he suddenly reached out, trying to touch me. Startled, I instinctively leaned back. His hand froze midair. "I just want to take a look," he said. He didn't sound like he was joking. But somehow, it still felt a little too forward. I pressed my lips together and repeated softly, "It doesn't hurt anymore." 13. I didn't think much about that video of Bryant. To be exact, I didn't care. But clearly, he couldn't sit still. He sent 10 apology messages in a row. I didn't bother reading them. Just muted the chat. Bryant wasn't really sorry. He just realized I wasn't acting like before. That I didn't go begging him for forgiveness. And that I had my mark cleaned off. That's what made him panic. But it wasn't guilt, it was fear. Bryant never changes. The first time I smelled another Omega's scent on him, I asked him about it with tears in my eyes. He said helplessly, "It's just a bit of transfer, nothing happened." And I believed him. After all, Bryant went against his family to marry me. He was their only son. They fought over it for months. But he never gave in. He insisted on marrying me. An Omega who couldn't even get pregnant. In the end, his parents had no choice but to agree. The wedding was grand. Everyone from the upper circle came. Bryant made sure the world knew how much he cared for me. Even if I wasn't perfect, he still wanted me. But the bigger the stage back then, the quicker the fall now. Once he started cheating, he couldn't stop. The first time hurt. After that, I just went numb. 14. When the day came to finalize the divorce, I called Bryant. He sounded half asleep, his voice low and rough. "Divorce certificate?" "Yeah." He clicked his tongue, sounding annoyed. "Sawyer, you're really doing this?" "Yes." I heard him lighting a cigarette. Then a stranger's voice came from beside him. "Bryant, smoking this early? You're covered in your scent again, smell me?" I couldn't help but laugh. That's just how Bryant was. One minute he's apologizing to me. The next, he's already in bed with someone else. And that Omega didn't even care that he was on the phone with me. still clinging to him. Until Bryant snapped. "Shut up for a second. I'm going to get divorced." Then he said to me, "Fine. I'm coming now." When he arrived, I'd already been waiting 20 minutes. "Let's go." He didn't move. Just leaned there lazily. When he saw I was serious, he reached out and grabbed me. "You sure you won't regret it?" I pulled my arm back. "I won't." He stared at me for a long time. "If you change your mind now, we can just forget all this ever happened," he said quietly. "We can go back to how we were. Even if your mark is gone, I can mark you again." Hearing that, I almost laughed. This was the same man who once defied his whole family for me. Now he was just another selfish jerk. I gave a small, mocking smile. Even though he'd changed clothes, the scent of another Omega still clung to him. He saw I wasn't softening. With a sigh, he said, "Fine. You want a divorce? Let's do it." 15. When the papers were finally in my hand, I felt completely free. Afraid he'd suddenly change his mind. I didn't relax until we walked out. Bryant didn't care about the certificate at all. Just stuffed it into his pocket. He said casually, "When you calm down, we'll get back together. You can't live without me anyway." But he was wrong. It wasn't that I couldn't live without him. I just loved him too much. And that love made me forgive him over and over. Now that it was over, there was no reason to keep pretending. I gave a small smile. "Don't worry," I said. "Even if you die, I won't come back." His face instantly turned dark. He opened his mouth to argue. But a car slowly pulled up beside us. Dawson stepped out. "All done?" he asked. He glanced at Bryant, then at me. "If you're finished, get in the car." The air turned awkward, almost heavy. People waiting nearby were staring. Like they were watching a soap opera in real life. Bryant's smile faded. He turned to me, confirming, "He's here to pick you up." I met his gaze calmly. Then stepped toward Dawson's car. Bryant's eyes followed every move I made. I leaned down toward the window and said, "Sure, thanks for the ride." Just as I reached for the door handle, Bryant grabbed me hard. His eyes were bloodshot. "Sawyer, are you doing this to spite me?" His voice cracked. So that night, was it my uncle? 16. I lost my temper. "Let go," I said flatly. "We're divorced. What does it matter to you?" After a long, tense moment, Bryant finally let go. Then he laughed. "Fine. When you calm down, we'll talk. If this is your way of getting back at me, go ahead." Then he turned to Dawson. "Well then, Uncle. I'll leave Sawyer to you." Dawson just replied coolly, "Don't worry." Once I got into the car, I regretted it almost immediately. The silence inside was unbearable. I told Dawson to drop me off at the next corner. He didn't answer. Just pressed the gas a little harder. "What?" he asked a few seconds later, pretending confusion. "Oh, you wanted to get off at that corner?" "Sorry," I spaced out. I stared at him speechlessly. If playing dumb was a skill, Dawson was clearly better at it than me. I gave up and let him drive me to the office instead. Because of all the chaos with Bryant, I'd been taking days off non-stop. Dawson didn't say much. Just changed direction and stopped in front of my company. I thanked him as I got out. Before I closed the door, Dawson said quietly, "Sawyer, I'm starting to pursue you now." He said it seriously. And I rejected him just as seriously. That afternoon, I got a message from him again. "Are you free tonight? I'd like to take you to dinner." 13. I stared at Dawson's 2 messages for almost 2 minutes. Then I sighed helplessly. Dawson moves so fast, it's hard for me to keep up. Chasing what exactly? An Omega who just divorced his nephew. If word got out, it would sound awful. And it would make Dawson a joke. Isn't this crazy? Not only would I disagree, but Dawson's family would never approve either, unless they'd lost their minds. Maybe because I hadn't replied. Dawson sent an emoji. I paused for a moment. Working late, no time, I typed and sent. Soon after, my phone buzzed again. Got it. Not exactly a lie. I'd been taking frequent leave lately. Work wasn't finished. So I had to stay late. That night, leaving the office, I saw Dawson's car immediately. And him leaning against it. I'll take you home, he said as he approached. Is that okay? 14. Some things had to be said sooner or later. Okay, I replied. On the way back, Dawson suggested. Want to grab some late-night food? Sure. At the restaurant, he handed me the menu. What do you want? I didn't take it. Anything is fine. You choose. I don't mind. Dawson didn't insist. He ordered, and when the server left, I looked at him. Dawson, there's no chance between us. You don't need to chase me. He met my eyes. The words stuck in my throat, neither up nor down. I fiddled with my fingers, then continued. So don't waste your effort. You can find an Omega that suits you. Not chase a divorced one like me. A quiet pause. Finally, Dawson spoke. Not even a little chance. My throat felt dry. Yes, I said. Only after we finished eating. Dawson said. I didn't agree with what you just said. I looked up sharply. And our eyes met. He gave a faint smile. Whether you agree or not doesn't matter. Chasing you is my decision. Divorced or not, it doesn't matter. The divorce just gives me a chance. Then he stood. Let's go, I'll take you back. No. We silently faced each other. But I lost the standoff and got in the car. Halfway there, my phone buzzed twice. It was a friend of Bryant's. Wife, want to come get Bryant? He's drunk, causing trouble, no one can touch him. Better talk it out at home. He still cares about you, just likes to play around. He wouldn't like those people anyway. Soon after, a video of drunk Bryant appeared. An Omega sat next to him, biting their lip, eyes red, looking hurt. Seeing all three messages, I couldn't help smiling. The people around Bryant weren't any better. All trying to defend him. I replied with 2 words. Got it. After turning off my phone, Dawson suddenly asked. Want me to turn back? I realized he must have heard the video. No. Just take me home. 5 minutes later, another video came. Bryant, eyes closed, calling my name. I replied, got it. Dawson drove me home. As I got out, he asked. Will you get back with him? 15. Dawson asked seriously. Body tense. I said firmly, no. The marriage is over, the mark is gone. There's no way I'd reconcile. I was already done with Bryant. Dawson watched me for a long moment, then said, okay. Back home, I collapsed on the sofa. I didn't notice how much time passed. My phone rang, then hung up immediately. It was another friend of Bryant's. I didn't answer. They bombarded me with messages. Where are you? Why aren't you here yet? How long? Rubbing my throbbing head, I replied, got it. The friend replied. I silenced my phone and went upstairs to shower. When I came out, my phone buzzed continuously, Bryant was calling. I didn't answer, and he didn't call again. Every Cold War, he would just get drunk. And make his friends call me to pick him up. In his eyes, it was giving me a way out. But that trick doesn't work anymore. Then my phone buzzed. Good night. Dawson. 17. Since then, Bryant never called again. I got busy gradually. Late-night work dinners became normal. The only constant. After sending off a client, I'd see Dawson. He'd come over to help me. His scent hit my nose strongly. I'll take you home. Dawson seemed addicted to being my driver. General manager by day. Chauffeur by night. Sometimes he even brought flowers or small gifts. I had no choice but to lean against his car. Lit a cigarette, feeling slightly relieved. After work got busy. When exhausted, a smoke was enough. I held the cigarette and asked Dawson. Aren't you tired? No, he said. But I am. Why are you chasing me? Is it a sense of achievement to pursue an Omega divorced from your nephew? Dawson, you. He interrupted calmly. I like you. The rest of his words seemed swallowed back. I froze. Stunned. I only snapped out of it when the ash burned me. I didn't look away, but didn't know what to say. I'll take you home, he added. At this hour, it's hard to get a cab. You're an Omega, I can't leave you. When he got close, his scent grew stronger. I frowned lightly. Dawson, is your heat coming? He stopped. Seems like it. His heat came suddenly. The car couldn't move. We had to get a ride share. Sitting together in the back. Our knees accidentally touched. And I subtly moved mine away. The window opened, letting wind in. Making his scent even stronger. It smelled like lime. Sour and sharp. Contrasting with him personally. He suddenly said. Your scent is freesia. I froze, instinctively covering my gland. Since cleaning my mark, I hadn't worn the suppressant patches. Partly because I hadn't fully recovered. Partly because I barely had any scent. No one could smell it anyway. You can smell it? I looked at him in surprise. Yes, freesia. The doctor said my scent was so faint, no one would notice. Not even Bryant. Dawson chuckled softly, voice slightly husky. Yes, I can smell it. Freesia. Very nice. It was the first time I realized I had my own scent. And the first time I knew it smelled like freesia. 19. During Dawson's heat these past few days, I hadn't seen him. But I received a lot of messages. He sent a lot, and I replied occasionally. After work, I saw Bryant from afar. He leaned against a car, smoking. No surprise, he was here for me. Bryant stubbed out his cigarette and walked toward me. His tone was calm. You didn't reply to my messages. Didn't pick up my calls. So I had to come find you. Since the divorce, I had deleted all of Bryant's contacts. After posting the divorce news in the family group, I even left it. Bryant's parents were obviously happy. They never liked me anyway. Now that we were divorced, it suited them perfectly. I asked indifferently. Do you need something? Bryant paused. Helplessness clear on his face. Almost a month has passed, still mad at me. You retaliated too, didn't you? I missed you too much. So I came to find you. Sawyer, let's remarry. 20. When Bryant said this, it didn't sound like an apology. It sounded like a favor. Ridiculous. Sometimes I couldn't help but think. What do I even mean to Bryant? We loved each other passionately when we were young. After marriage, it was only ever about him. Did I fail to see his true nature? Or had he changed? I scoffed. Bryant, are you serious? You think just saying some sweet words will make me go back to you? Are you overestimating yourself? Or do you still think I'm stupid? Bryant's face stiffened. Sawyer, stop it, okay? You really think Dawson would fall for you? Don't be ridiculous. There are many lining up to marry Dawson, but it won't be you. It can't be you. Then I realized. In Bryant's mind, I was always insignificant, easy to manipulate. He hadn't changed. He was always like that. So no more dreaming. Bryant said. No one wants you but me. I clenched my fist and struck him hard in the face. An Omega is weaker than an Alpha, but I used all my strength. Bryant touched his lip, looking stunned. I stared at him coldly. I don't need anyone. Especially not trash like you. I turned and met Dawson's gaze. He had arrived quietly. I didn't care if he heard Bryant. I never planned to cling to Dawson. Never planned to be with him. Dawson stepped forward, calmly glancing at Bryant. Only trash fails to see others' strengths. But some of what you said is wrong. It's not about me liking Sawyer, it's whether he would like me. If he wanted, he could have gotten the papers today. Dawson's tone was calm. But his words made Bryant's pupils shrink. I stared at Dawson, throat dry. Bryant laughed sarcastically. Uncle, you're telling me you like your nephew's Omega? Wouldn't that be ridiculous if it got out? Dawson said. Nothing ridiculous. It's only you who would be a joke. 21. Dawson's words were overwhelming. I couldn't react for a moment. Like Bryant said. What could Dawson see in me? The traffic light turned red. I pursed my lips and looked at Dawson. Dawson, what do you like about me? Almost a week had passed since we last met. This was my first sentence to him. Dawson met my gaze and smiled slightly. What do you think I like about you? I couldn't think of an answer. A low-grade Omega who's awkward, divorced, and forever marked, how could I? Dawson said softly. Sawyer, I've known you longer than you've known Bryant. I know you better than anyone. I was stunned. Silent. Even when I got home, I didn't speak. Had I really seen Dawson before? I had no memory of it. Mechanically, I got out of the car, closed the door, and started to walk away. Dawson called out, and I turned back. Good night, he said. I responded dryly. Good night. 22. Bryant went crazy. Came to apologize. Eyes red, begging for forgiveness. Promising never to mess up again. Hoping we'd remarry. I ignored him. He blocked the entrance of my office. All my colleagues knew how deeply my ex loved me. And they watched eagerly. But I didn't care. Dawson, however, still persistently pursued me. Daily messages. Surprise gifts. Helping with contracts to please me. He said it himself. It's enough if I make you happy. Yet it wasn't enough. Dawson's project delivery got me promoted. I needed to train at headquarters for a month. Dawson quietly smoked all night. I regret it, he said. I couldn't help laughing. Only a month? Dawson nodded. No, a long month. But it's okay, when I miss you, I can take a private plane to see you. That sentence struck a chord deep in me. I sighed. I was doomed. Felt like I'd fallen. 23. The night I agreed to Dawson's confession. He leaned down and kissed me. Bryant saw it and rushed in. The two immediately fought. Dawson had trained in Sonda. While Bryant, aside from intimate encounters with Omegas, hadn't fought anyone in years. He was quickly knocked down. Bryant staggered to his feet, stubbornly staring at me. Sawyer, you can't be with Dawson, you're mine. I calmly met his gaze. No. I'm my own. Bryant saw me as a low-grade Omega. Couldn't even smell my scent. But Dawson said it didn't matter. Bryant belittled me, undervalued everything I did. Dawson encouraged me to try. Never needing me to put him first. He said, you are you. Put yourself first. 24. The day I left for the business trip, Dawson came with a grumpy face to see me off. I teased him. Thanks to your project, I got promoted and can go for training. Dawson gave a helpless smile. Before I boarded the plane, he pressed me against him and kissed me for a while. Before letting go. Just before boarding, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Bryant. He said he had a car accident and asked if I could come see him. Expressionless, I typed back. I'll go when you're dead. Then I blacklisted the number. On the 5th day of training, Dawson arrived. He really came on a private plane. He eagerly pressed me against the door and kissed me. His lime-scented pheromones surrounded me instantly. I lost track of time. Dawson's head rested in my neck. We were both slightly out of breath. In a husky voice, he said, I planted a few freesia flowers. You'll see them later, okay? My eyes trembled slightly. I softly replied. Okay. I asked. Dawson, did you really smell my pheromones? Can you still smell them now? He nodded. But I'm a low-grade Omega, I said. Dawson replied. I can smell freesia. You're not low-grade. It smells good. 25. When Bryant called, I tried with all my strength to crawl forward. Dawson, phone, I need to take the call. Dawson's sweat dripped on my back. He held me from behind, pressing close. Go ahead, he said. He gently held the phone to my ear. Bryant's drunk voice came through. Sawyer, why aren't you home? I miss you so much. I couldn't say a word. Dawson mischievously moved slightly. I bit my lip tightly. He took the phone from me and chuckled. Sawyer's busy. Not convenient. I didn't even have the strength to open my eyes. Dawson lightly touched my face. Oh, you've fallen asleep now. The call ended. I struggled to open my eyes. He won't come. Dawson picked me up and helped me take a bath. It took almost half an hour. I completely shut down. The next morning, my legs felt paralyzed, numb. I kicked Dawson in frustration, silently questioning him. He looked innocent. You didn't stop me. 26. After training ended, Dawson didn't rush me back. Instead, he wanted to take me somewhere mysterious. At night, he brought me to a scenic lake. To set the mood, the surrounding buildings were specially designed. The warm yellow lights gave it a unique charm. Dawson led me onto a bridge. Couples were dating nearby. He pointed to a building across the water. The first time I saw you was over there. You wore a traditional ethnic costume, taking photos like a tourist. You looked amazing. I watched you from here for a long time. When I went to find you, you were already taking pictures with other girls. And you ignored me after that. His voice carried a hint of grievance. I vaguely remembered. That summer, I was doing a part-time promotion job here. The costume was provided by the staff. I remember smiling so much that my face hurt. Nothing else. I laughed. Maybe you didn't notice. Dawson ignored me, that shows you didn't care about me. When we met again, you were Bryant's. The resentment in his tone was even stronger. If we continued talking, Dawson could get extremely jealous. I changed the topic. So, you liked me back then? Dawson didn't reply. I smirked, so it was just attraction. You looked good in that outfit, he said with a soft laugh. Not just attraction, you even gave part of your balloon to me, that little piggy one for the girl. I remembered a little. That night, a 7-year-old girl got lost with her mom. She was crying. I gave her 2 balloons, which stopped her crying. When her mom came to pick her up, I had 1 balloon left, couldn't take it in the subway, so I gave it to a stranger. Be happy, Dawson laughed. That's what you told me that night. I was indeed upset. Before I could ask why, Dawson held my hand and walked back and forth across the bridge. I was about to ask why he kept pacing, when he whispered, "They say couples who walk from one end of the bridge to the other will have lasting love." He held my hand tighter. "So walking twice means you belong to me this life and the next?" I froze. My chest ached slightly. "Don't tell me you actually believe this," Dawson said. "I didn't before, but now I do." 27. On the way back, I casually said, "Thinking about getting the papers again?" Dawson stopped walking, eyes burning as he looked at me. "With who?" I smiled. "That would be me." He paused, then said, "I'm different from Bryant. Sawyer, I will love you. You can always trust me." The breeze lifted fallen leaves from the ground. I heard myself say, "Okay."